girl that was chubby.
Yes.
Was how much of this Tracey that we're seeing now and hearing now was in that little girl? Or has this been a transformation from who you were as a little girl? And if so, how?
Yeah, so, I mean, somebody just posted something on Facebook, like in 4th grade or something like that, a picture of us, And so, but I was always happy with who I was. I mean, I credit my, like, really fantastic personality on going through that. It was a little bit of a joke there, but I do feel like I have really good personality, and I think that's because, I was made fun of. I was teased. I rode horses. And so my mom actually made shirts growing up. Like, it was so funny how things come full circle. And so my shirts, I think, happened to be a little cooler than, like, what my mom did for me. And so I got teased. I got made fun of. I didn't get invited to the parties. I didn't have a boyfriend really till high school. And, of course, you have those moments, right? It's hard at 12 and 13 to not think about, like, am I pretty? Or she's prettier than me? Or she's cooler than me? It's just, that is what it is. My daughter will experience that. My son will experience that. But it's how we get through that. It's a part of life. So absolutely. And I see what I turned into. And I think it was until about college, high school, senior, going to college, then I really started to kind of, say, hey, who I am is good enough. And I'm pretty damn special. And I guess just that's where my confidence kind of grew and started to kind of push myself in different directions in college. And it's kind of because I found my passion. I was really into fashion, and then I got more involved, and then I met my husband, and then, fitness became more and more part of what I did and what I became. So I think when I talk to young girls, when I do a lot of those talks, I think it's important that I say, like, I wasn't a born leader. You meet my husband, he's a born leader. He's a natural leader. But I also feel at 39, I am a leader now. And I think it's something we can learn, And so, so now I'm seeing that, hey, I can be a leader. I wasn't a born leader. I was always a little bit kind of, always blended in. If I were to go back to high school, my teachers probably wouldn't even know who I was. I just wasn't involved. But look at how I turned out. Here I am, and I'm stronger than ever, and I'm more confident than ever, and I've got more drive than I ever had. So it doesn't matter where we start, right? And it's just paying attention a lot to the environment and the energies. And you're saying, listening to that Steve Harvey about ask people what they say your gifts are. I mean, I truly do. You take all those I do pay attention to the everyday, and you kind of go where your energy pulls you, right? And I think that's, as we get older, we start to experience, like, okay, yeah, I'm going to do more of this and less of that. This makes me feel really good. This doesn't make me feel good at all. Or this I feel, and that's what that sweaty swag is, right? It's that pull on me to say, you know what? No, like there's women. I feel that every young girl, it's universal. Like, they need to know about sweaty swag. And even doing this with you today, like, that's pushing myself. It's about getting myself in front of an audience and saying, this is what the brand is for and this is what it stands for, because I feel that it's better than everything else that's out there, right? Yeah. Obviously it's mine, but I think I can influence and inspire others to hop on board with what I'm doing.
Yeah. I like particularly when you said about paying attention, because I see that when I was working in the gyms a lot, I saw, which just amazed me. You'd see a band of women or group of women together in the gym. 9 times out of 10, they were sitting there berating themselves. They'd be looking in the mirror, talking about this part of their body or that part of the body. One person would start, and they'd all join in. And I thought, 2 points. First of all, when did it become much more common to stand around and speak negative about ourselves, and to be so socially, like, accepted and like it just connects us, and do we really believe it? Because I thought, I'm not sure a lot of these women really believe it. I think we do have empowering insights to ourselves, but we're afraid to share them, because in that moment when we do, then we're labeled as like, well, who do you think you are? So I did it. I remember I joined in with one of the groups, and they were going on and I didn't join in. I didn't say anything. I just didn't join in. And they said, well, you're not saying anything. What? You're all that in a bag of chips? And immediately, this is how, so No More Pockets to me has evolved into, there's always going to be new levels of wanting to hide and bury down again. And I did. I walked away. Thank God I didn't try to excuse it or explain it, but I walked away. And for just a moment, I thought, so this is what it's like. If we don't engage in the negative self-talk, then we're kind of ostracized for thinking we may be all that or a bag of chips. And yet I had a woman come up to me afterwards and said, I like that you did that because I really don't hate my body. I kind of think my body's pretty good. I have this point and this point, she went on, but she said, these are my friends. And I thought, first of all, that was just befuddled me. Second of all, I thought, that's strange to me because when we were talking about connecting and sharing, women are so quick to do that. And I think it's really part of our maternal instinct to take care of each other and to watch out for each other. I taught yoga for years. I had my own yoga studio, and it was nothing when they'd come in the morning. Women would come in and we'd all just start to share. And I remember thinking, I feel bad for men. Because I'd at the time share with my husband then at the time, and he'd be like, guys never do that. Why? Is this what you guys do? And I go, yeah, but you know what? We leave at the end of the day, and we have sweated out our practice, and we have sweated out our emotions, and we feel better. I wish more people would trust one another in saying, you see me maybe for all these successes, and you think that I have it all, but let me tell you the real story. Just like when I see Tony Robbins or on video, and I think they're so big, and that sometimes I think successes in people really is what really separates us, because we think they're not going to get me. They're not going to get my story. We don't assume that they've had any kind of struggles in their life. And yet it's when they become more vulnerable and they start sharing, like the Steve Harvey was talking about, living for 3 years in his car and all the struggles it's when these celebrities open up and really tell us too where they've gone or what they've been through, that I think, yeah, all right. It's just a part of what we've all gone through. It's part of all of our growth. And do we sweat through it? Are we willing and brave enough to sweat through it?
I think I'm agreeing with you, but yet with the celebrity thing. And so another part of the reason too, it's like the Lady Gagas, we were talking about Lady Gagas and the Pinks and this and that. I watch Lady Gaga's like Netflix, whatever. And so I've watched some of it and seeing her, but it means more to me to watch someone that I personally know or know. I want to hear their story, because for me, I don't really get inspired by watching like a Lady Gaga or something like that. See, sometimes I think Hollywood celebrities are so far separated what's going on down here, right?
Yeah.
So for me, I want to know, and that's kind of too where I think about, okay, how am I going to inspire someone? I'm a no one, but I also think that's part of the process. It's about, oh my gosh, like I know Tracey, I've worked out with her, or my kids go to her school, and here she is, just she's doing it. Like she's doing it, and she's growing, and I know her, or I went to school with her growing up. And I think that to me, and maybe if I knew Lady Gaga back when she wasn't Lady Gaga and I was in her neighborhood, and to me that would probably be more of a powerful message, when she shares her stories. But I think that's part of like the everyday women, the everyday brand. Like, I want to see the everyday women, I want to hear her stories, because that motivates me, to see that, wow, she's doing it right now. And, she's 39 and she's a mom in the suburbs, and
right.
To me, so yes, sometimes, but I also think it's sometimes a demotivator when you see, well, this one, I've already seen them when they've made it and they've been in Hollywood for 20 years. Okay. I want to know about when they're down in that struggle and that sweat and that, in that valley, that's the stories I want to hear more of. So, and that's again, why I love things like this, like we're right in that same kind of like figuring it out and, and just keep pushing forward and driving forward.
What I was trying to express more than that was that these people who society looks up to, who have attained some level of success in being who they are and being this part or this personality that people thought, I don't get her. In my day, it was Madonna. These really strong women who stand out, who are brave enough to stand out and be part and not be part of the crowd. And you find out that's really just who they are. They're just strong, different women trying to figure it out. That's what I was trying to allude to, that in my case with the No More Pockets is deciding to live your truth, and risk being different and seen as maybe an outcast or whatever, but just the power. I see from them and just saying, this is who I am, like it or lump it. Is there any part of your story that you really wanted to leave with today that we haven't touched on?
I don't know. I guess what I'm going through right now, I think the brand, I've had some really great successes within, my past 3 years of doing the brand. Also, I think for me, the problem, a lot of times the entrepreneur mindset, like the problem isn't creativity. You've got a million ideas, right? And so for me, it's about being able to filter those, I have lots of ideas. Lots of them are really good ideas. But it's about picking the ones, and figuring that out. So I guess that's where I'm at right now, right? I can, sell in person and like I have the connection. It's an immediate connection. And so for me, like my struggle right now with the brand is finding that same connection when I go on like a social, because I can only hit so many people in person, obviously, so I'm trying to really drive my online business, right? And being able to put that story together on an Instagram where it's going to want to draw you to what the brand's doing, right? Being able to have that Instagram worthy. And that's really frustrating, but that's where the world lives and breathes. And if I really want to skyrocket the brand, I have to figure out how am I going to reach, people all over the world through utilizing these outlets. So I guess that's my sweat right now.
Yeah.
My money goes right back into my business and figuring that out and trying to create more platforms for myself and not being scared to take like the really big leap, like not being scared to go after an influencer that is like one of my idols, or not being scared to just say, hey, you know what, like I'm going all in, and as a brand, I push it, and I've sweat a lot and I've pushed myself out of my comfort zone, but I haven't completely just like threw in the towel and gone after it. And so that's one of my like personal sweats, like that I want to really achieve. But yeah, if you like what you heard or you're interested to hear a little bit more about the Sweaty Swag, the brand, the lifestyle and the culture, you can find me at sweatyswag.com. We're on Instagram at Sweaty Swag Inspired, and Facebook Sweaty Swag. But yeah, that's if you like what you heard today, and this was fun. Like I said, I love the outlets to kind of share a little bit of my story, but
loved it.
Just as Laura talks, same as Sweaty Swag, this brand will evolve not because of my story, because of your story. And that's where I think the brand will really start gaining momentum of how, Laura attaches to what Sweaty Swag's all about, how, Susie attaches herself to that, because that spreads, people talk, people like to share their sweaty stories. And so I'm just trying to give you a outlet and an actual physical product to do so. So
amazing.
Yeah. Awesome.
Thank you, Tracey. Thanks
Thank
so
you.
much. I appreciate it.